Once upon a time, in the city of Lagos, there lived two sisters who were as beautiful as trouble itself. Their names were Tamilore and Lola, but people in the neighborhood called them the Trouble Sisters because wherever there was trouble, the sisters sure had a way of featuring. The sisters also had one strange hobby that nobody could ever understand. Every Saturday, when normal girls were attending weddings as invited guests, Lola and Tamilore attended as agents of chaos. They were not invited, yet they went anyway, and they didn't just go quietly. Their mission was simple: to ruin people's weddings. It all started one afternoon when Lola was scrolling through Instagram and saw a video of a bride crying tears of joy. The video pissed her off greatly, and she could not understand why women fool themselves with love when they know that their men will one day cheat on them, regardless of the fact that they were married. So this woman thinks her husband will never cheat on her. See the way she's crying and embarrassing herself online, she said as she rolled her eyes. Tamilore, who was painting her nails beside her, replied, "Na so, every Saturday it's my love this, my king that. I'm tired, I beg." If they know how relationships truly are, they will cry instead of dancing. That one comment was the seed of madness that bettered their new obsession with marriages. The sisters decided to start a new form of entertainment. Their plan was to crash weddings, create drama, and disappear before anyone could figure out what had happened. Their first victim was a young couple getting married at St. Jude's Catholic Church. The sisters arrived looking stunning. They sat at the back, whispering and giggling as the bride walked down the aisle. When the priest asked if anyone has any reason why these two should not be joined, Tamilore jumped up dramatically and screamed, "Father, stop this wedding!" Everyone froze. Gasps filled the church as the priest dropped his Bible in shock. The bride clutched her chest like she'd just been shot by a gun, while the groom's face drained of color. Tamilore walked down the aisle like a Nollywood actress, pointing at the groom. This same man promised me marriage last year. He told me I was the sugar in his tea and the only woman for him." People began to murmur as the congregation took out their phones and began to record. The groom stood there confused, stammering, I don't know how. I swear I don't know her." Meanwhile, Lola joined in the act, wailing loudly from the back. "Dayo, so this is how you repay me after I gave you my heart and cleared my bank account for you?" The crowd erupted as the bride fainted. Before anyone could blink, the sisters slipped out of the church and ran away laughing like witches on a mission. By evening, the performance was trending on Instagram, with everyone talking about the side chicks who crashed a wedding and made the bride to faint. That was how their wicked hobby began. Every weekend, Lola and Tamilore woke up early, dressed like queens, and scanned social media for weddings. They would pick the biggest one, rehearse their script, and march in confidently as disgruntled ex-girlfriends. They didn't care whose lives they destroyed, because to them, these men were already cheats who were only deceiving innocent women into a life of misery. They celebrated after every successful crash, toasting to their victory like caterers who packed half the jollof rice before serving the guests. The sisters were proud of their work. In fact, they once said that their goal was to set a Guinness World Record for the most weddings ruined in 1 year. By the fourth weekend, the sisters had perfected their craft. This time, they crashed a wealthy businessman's wedding. They arrived the venue in matching gowns and sat at the back, waiting for the right time to strike. Just as the MC welcomed the couple in, Tamilore stood up angrily, holding a fake baby doll wrapped in a shawl. "Wait oh!" she screamed, shaking the doll. "He must first collect his baby before collecting another bride." People screamed out in shock. The bride's mother nearly fainted as the ushers rushed forward, but Lola fell to her knees and began to cry like a Nollywood actress. "After all we shared, you decided to leave me and marry her?" she cried as the bride gave the groom a very hot slap across the face. Before anyone could confirm anything, the sisters dashed out, laughing like maniacs. They arrived at their favorite bar and toasted to a successful mission. When Lola's phone rang, it was their elder sister Sheon, who called to warn them of their latest madness trending all over social media. "Are you too mad?" Sheon screamed through the phone. "Your faces are everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even my office group chat. People are calling you the wedding witches of Lagos. Lola laughed so hard that she almost spilled her drink. Abeg, let them talk jare. We are famous. Damilore snorted proudly. When they start inviting us to Big Brother, they'll all shut up. Oh. But Seun was not laughing. You girls are playing with fire. One day, you'll crash the wrong wedding and it will end in tears. The sisters ignored her as usual. To them, Seun was just a boring married woman who had forgotten how to have fun. Little did they know that the fire Seun spoke of was already brewing and waiting to burn. Days later, Lola was scrolling through Instagram when she came across a post that caught her attention. It was a pre-wedding shoot of a couple whose wedding was in a few days. The wedding was in one of the biggest hotels in town, and Lola could not hide her excitement. Her eyes lit up like Christmas lights as she called on her sister to come see the next mission. "Tammy, come and see our next mission," she shouted, waving her phone like she had just found oil in her backyard. Damilore rushed out of the kitchen, still holding a spoon dripping with stew. "Which one is it?" Lola grinned mischievously. "A big one. See their hashtag now. Their day is forever." The bride is some fashion influencer and the groom is a billionaire's son. The wedding, it will be the talk of Lagos. Damilore's lips curved into a wicked smile. "Perfect. Let's make sure it's a wedding they will never forget." They began to plan like professional actresses. Their script was detailed. This time, Damilore would pretend to be the groom's secret lover from Canada, whilst Lola would pose as her heartbroken sister who came to expose him. They rehearsed their lines, perfected their fake tears, and even printed fake chat screenshots to make the story more believable. By Saturday morning, they stepped out of their apartment looking like royalty, matching silver gowns, flawless makeup, expensive perfume. To anyone watching, they looked like two angels on their way to a high-class event, but in reality, they were two demons on assignment. The venue glittered like heaven on earth. Expensive cars filled the compound, ushers moved about elegantly, and celebrities filled the hall. Everything looked perfect until the sisters arrived. They sat quietly, pretending to be guests of the groom's family. Lola kept adjusting her hair as Damilore whispered to her that the drama would start once the couple are about to exchange their vows. They waited patiently as the pastor called the couple out for their vows. He began to ask if the groom, Tade Adeyemi, takes Jade Williams to be his lawfully wedded wife in sickness and in health till death do them part. Before Tade could answer, Damilore jumped up, her voice echoing through the hall. "You liar! You already married me in Canada." Gasps filled the hall as the people all looked on in shock. Phones flew out like swords ready for battle. Lola immediately burst out into loud sobs, wailing like a widow at a funeral. "Tell them the truth, Tade. Tell them how you promised to send me tickets and then blocked me everywhere." The hall erupted in confusion. The bride froze. Her father's face turned red as the groom looked at her confused. But before the sisters could make their usual escape, a deep voice thundered from behind. "Enough!" Everyone turned as a tall man in a navy blue suit walked up to them and revealed that the bride was his wife. The whole hall fell silent as the man's voice echoed through the hall, calm but thunderous. "Yes, this woman you call a bride is already married to me." A collective gasp swept through the hall as guests turned their heads in disbelief, their mouths hanging open like church offering bags as they whispered amongst themselves. "What is this man saying? The bride is married? This Lagos no kill also." The groom Tade stood frozen, staring at the man as though he had just seen a ghost. "What rubbish are you saying? Who are you?" he asked the man, who reached into his jacket and pulled out a brown envelope. "I'm Barrister Henry, and this," he turned sharply towards the bride, "is my legally wedded wife, Mrs. Jade Henry, also known as Jade Williams on Instagram." The bride's face drained of color. She staggered backwards, her veil slipping off, as she began to cry and plead for forgiveness. "Henry, please, let me explain," she whispered. "Explain what?" Henry's voice thundered through the microphone as he held up a marriage certificate for everyone to see. "Explain how you abandoned your home, changed your name, and came here to marry another man while I'm still alive." The hall erupted in chaos. Cameras flashed. Ushers dropped their trays as the MC stood there like a mannequin, as he watched the whole drama unfold. The groom's parents gasped in horror as the groom himself took several steps back, as if the ground beneath him had turned to fire. "This can't be true," he stammered, as Henry glared at him and told him to ask Jade. "Ask her yourself. She left me 2 years ago with my child. I thought she died, only for me to see her pre-wedding pictures on the internet." Jade burst into tears as she fell to her knees. "Please, Henry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted a new life." The guests looked on in shock. They could not believe that truly the bride was married to another man. Some called her a gold digger because they knew how wealthy their dames were. Phones recorded as bloggers whispered into the cameras, narrating how a married woman deceived their dame into marriage and how her husband stormed the venue to crash the wedding. Tamilore and Lola could not believe their eyes. They stood there stunned as they watched the whole drama unfold. The drama they planned was nothing compared to the drama that played out right in front of them. "Lola, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Lola asked her sister Tamilore, who nodded her head in confusion. "Lola, we didn't even plan this part oh. We've been crashing weddings for months, but you see this one? This one crashed itself oh." The sisters looked at each other shocked as Lola suggested that they had to leave. Without another word, the sisters tiptoed towards the side door, ducking between guests who were still standing in shock. They dashed through the hotel corridor, nearly tripping over a flower vase as Tamilore kicked off her heels and escaped through the back door, bursting into the parking lot and diving into the first taxi they could find. "Driver, move abeg, don't ask questions," Laura shouted, gasping for breath. As the car sped away, they could still hear the distant chaos behind them. Minutes later, Tamilore burst out in laughter as she laughed hysterically. "Lola, can you imagine? For the first time, you didn't even have to lie. The bride na gangster oh." Lola laughed hard, wiping tears from her eyes. At least, this one no go count as our fault. If you ask me, we just exposed the truth early." The sisters laughed as the taxi dropped them at home. They felt vindicated, as though fate had finally agreed with their madness. "To think Seunse will crash the wrong wedding," Lola said proudly. "Look who turned out to be the real criminal. The bride herself." Tamilore raised her glass of Fanta high. "To us, the defenders of truth and destroyers of fake marriages." They clinked their glasses dramatically, laughing like two mosquitoes who just discovered a man sleeping without mosquito net. However, deep inside, they both felt something strange, a quiet uneasiness, because for the first time, their chaos had not been planned, yet it had uncovered something real. Was it luck or karma finally playing its part? Neither of them could tell. By evening, the news had spread like wildfire as every blog carried the headline. People online were torn as some cursed them, whilst others called them heroes. The sisters scrolled through the comments, grinning proudly. "You see, Tammy, God is using us as tools for his good work." Tamilore placed a hand on her chest dramatically as she called herself the true prophet of their generation. The sisters burst out in laughter, completely oblivious to the moral storm that trailed behind them. Weeks passed, and the sisters heard of a massive wedding happening at Oriental Hotel. The groom was rumored to be a billionaire's son who was getting married to a top model. "Perfect," Lola said, clapping her hands. "We'll scatter this one like demolition experts." Tamilore grinned wickedly. "Let's make it unforgettable. I'll pretend to be his baby mama from London, and you'll be my cousin who helped raise the child." "Excellent," Lola said, already packing her red lipstick and fake tears. They arrived the venue like royalty, gliding through the crowd with confidence. The hall was filled with Lagos elites, influencers, and even a few celebrities. When the couple danced in, everyone cheered until Tamilore stood up and screamed for the DJ to stop the music. The DJ froze as the band fell silent. Tamilore marched to the stage, clutching a folder of fake DNA test results. "This wedding cannot continue," she yelled. "This man here, this man impregnated me in London and abandoned me with his child." The crowd gasped. The bride dropped her bouquet as Lola jumped in immediately, sobbing uncontrollably. "You wicked man! You used my cousin and dumped her like trash. God will punish you," she said as people began to shout. The bride's mother fainted on the spot as the groom's friends surrounded him and began to ask questions. Everywhere was chaos as the sisters turned and ran out before the security could grab them. The They laughed hysterically as they entered their Uber and screamed out in triumph. They felt unstoppable, powerful and completely untouchable. Ha! Tammy, did you see the bride's face? She nearly swallowed her bouquet. Lola laughed so hard that she almost choked. Tamilore wiped tears of laughter from her eyes. My sister, when I raised that DNA test, I saw even the MC lose color. I'm sure his next announcement will be, ladies and gentlemen, please proceed to the exit quietly. They laughed all the way home, proud and victorious, not knowing that they had just crashed the wrong wedding. Night came and their laughter turned into panic. Videos from the wedding had gone viral and the groom's father, Chief Adebanjo, was one of the most powerful men in Lagos. He had released a public statement swearing to find the two Jezebels who ruined his son's wedding. He offered a 5 million naira reward to anyone who could identify them. Within hours, the sisters' photos, names and addresses were everywhere. By the next morning, people surrounded their compound. Neighbors who once hailed them as fine girls now whispered behind their backs, "See them, professional home wreckers. God has finally caught them," the people said as police arrived to whisk them away in handcuffs. They arrived at the station a few minutes later and met the DPO, who stared at them coldly. "You think people's marriages are games? That viral stunt you pulled had almost cost someone their life." The police revealed that the bride had collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. She had a heart condition, and the shock from the chaos at her wedding had pushed her into a coma. The entire station fell silent as the words sank in. Lola's jaw dropped. "Coma? Sir, we didn't touch her." Tamilore stammered. "We only acted small drama. We did not even reach her." But the DPO slammed his palm on the desk. "Shut up, dear. You think this is Nollywood? You both went to a public event, caused a scene that almost led to a stampede, and now someone is fighting for her life. If she doesn't wake up, you'll be charged with manslaughter." Lola and Tamilore froze, trembling like two chickens in front of a hungry lion. "Sir, please, will she wake up?" Tamilore whispered as the DPO rose to his feet, told them to pray that she does. Because the groom's father, Chief Adebanjo, is on his way here with his lawyers, and if anything happens to that girl, not even God will save you too. The sisters looked at each other terrified. By evening, they were thrown into a small holding cell that smelled like fear and sweat. The only light came from a flickering bulb above them. Tamilore sat in one corner, hugging her knees, while Lola paced back and forth. "Lola," Tamilore said weakly, "you see our life now. She won't want us so, but we refuse to hear." Lola's voice cracked. Me that just wanted to catch cruise. I didn't know that this our cruise will one day land us in jail." Tamilore hissed through tears. "You and your big mouth, always shouting. Let's make it unforgettable." "Well, congratulations, it's now unforgettable." They sat in silence, each one lost in her own thought. Lola buried her face in her palms as she began to cry. For the first time in their lives, Lola and Tamilore were speechless. Hours passed and Chief Adebanjo arrived at the station with his security. His face was carved in fury as the police brought them forward to him. "Do you realize what you have done?" he thundered. "You ruined my son's wedding in front of governors and foreign guests. My family name is trending for the wrong reasons because of your childish foolishness. Our bride is in the hospital, struggling for her life, all because of your foolishness." Tamilore stammered as she pleaded for his forgiveness. "We were just joking, sir. We didn't know it to go this far," they said to Chief, who glared at them and began to speak. "A joke that almost killed someone? You will learn today that every seed of mockery grows into harvest of shame." The sisters wept, but their tears meant nothing. Chief pressed charges for defamation as well as public disturbance. Their video, "The Wedding Crashers of Lagos," hit 1 million views overnight, not for fame this time, but for disgrace. Not long afterwards, their sister Seun arrived at the station, her eyes red from crying. She looked at her sisters through the bars and shook her head in pity as she began to speak. "I told you too that one day all these things you are doing will land you in trouble. Now you see where it has landed you." "Seun, please," Tamilore sobbed. "You think we meant to hurt anyone?" Seun sighed. "It doesn't matter what you meant. Actions have consequences. A girl might die because of your foolishness. I heard she's still unconscious in the hospital and might not even survive." The words hit them like thunder as Lola fell to her knees and began to pray. "God, please, don't let her die. I promise that if she wakes up, I'll never crash another wedding again in my life, she said as Tamilore raised her hands dramatically and began to pray aloud. Father Lord, if you forgive us these ones, we will change our ways. We will even join the church choir. The policewoman passing by scoffed as she mocked them, saying, you better join the ushering department too, because if she dies, both of you will usher yourselves into prison. For 3 days, the sisters could not sleep. Chief refused to withdraw his complaint, insisting that they face the full extent of the law. Then, on the 4th morning, the DPO walked in, holding a piece of paper. He looked at them quietly as he revealed to them that the bride had finally woken up. Lola screamed out in excitement as she jumped up and hugged her sister Tamilore, thanking God for saving her life. However, the police revealed that Chief refused to withdraw his complaint. Chief says that you both must still face the law. The DPO said coldly, he wants to make an example out of you. So even though the bride survived, the damage you caused will not go unpunished. Lola's smile vanished as she began to plead for mercy. Officer, please, we've suffered enough. We promise we will not do it again, she said as the police revealed to her that the matter was now outside his control. You both almost killed someone. You disrupted an event attended by governors, foreign investors and even the media. You disgraced one of the most powerful families in Lagos. You both will have to explain all that in court, he said to the sisters, who burst out in tears as they regretted all they had done. Days passed and their court hearing finally arrived. The sisters looked nothing like their former selves. The judge looked down at them from the bench as she began to speak. You both are charged with public disturbance, defamation and causing grievous emotional distress leading to hospitalization. After reviewing the evidence before me, which are the video, the witness testimonies, the bride's hospital report, I hereby sentence you both to 1 year in prison with no option of fine. May this period teach you the value of peace, truth and decency. The sisters began to wail as they pleaded for mercy. They learned their lesson in that moment, that actions have consequences. Their tears could not change the verdict as the police led them away in cuffs. The same social media that once made them famous now mocked their downfall. Behind bars, Lola and Tamilore spent sleepless nights scrubbing prison floors and thinking about the lives that they had ruined. By the time they completed their 1 year sentence, they walked out of prison quieter, humbler and unrecognizable. They vowed to themselves never to crash another wedding in their life because life itself had finally crashed their show, and this time they were the ones being watched. The lesson to be learned from this story is that mockery may begin as entertainment, but it always ends in regret. Those who take pleasure in destroying others often discover that karma never needs an invitation. Tamilore and Lola learned that envy hides behind laughter and that every lie told for fun can one day become one's shame in public. True joy is not pulling others down, but in lifting others up. So if you ever see people celebrating, don't ruin it. Dance with them or walk away quietly, because the same joy you mock today might be the joy you pray for tomorrow.